today's video, he's going to teach us all the different kinds of loans that you can get and how you can qualify for one. Especially if you're a first-time home buyer, there's a lot of things that we do not know and that we need to know in order to make the process easier and better, for us. So without further ado, let's all welcome Robert.
Good morning, Rio. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So for our first question, what are the types of loan does your company offers?
Well, we've got many different options. Of course, we offer the traditional loan options, such as conventional EHA, VA, USDA, all the standard products. But we also have several they call non-QM. They're non-traditional loan products, such as we've got investment loans, fix and flip loans, construction loans, no income loans, where the loan is just based on your bank statements, commercial loans, reverse mortgages, which are not as bad as people think they are. It's actually a rebuilt product, which is pretty beneficial to a lot of people. And we also have private money, also known as hard money, which a lot of people use to flip houses. So pretty much a loan to cover just about any situation.
That's awesome. And I remember you mentioned that you guys are doing a VA loan, like a kind of like a special promotion for our VA.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm actually a Navy veteran myself. I was a Navy pilot for several years, starting back in the 90s. Our company, Lincoln Lending Group here in Tampa, we've been around for about 20 years, and we really appreciate our military veterans. We will beat any VA loan any of your clients ever get. We'll guarantee you will beat the rate and terms.
Yeah.
We have to take care of our veterans.
That is an awesome, promotion, because especially if you are VA, this is something that you need to take advantage for, right? And with that being said, how will they know if what, is the best mortgage for them? Because I know there are a lot of different mortgages and, different qualifications. And as, someone, let's say, as a normal person who is first time home buying, there's a lot of things that you can be easily overwhelmed with, right? So how would they know what is the best mortgage for them?
Yeah, so the short answer to that is to give me a call, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through our application process. Is completely free. We don't charge an application fee. It only takes about 10 minutes to complete the application. It's super quick and easy. I can either help do it for the client, or they can do it themselves, whichever's best. But I've seen a lot of situations, like me, for example. I'm a Navy veteran, so I've had a few situations so far where it's more beneficial for me to get a normal conventional loan than it is to get a VA loan, which might seem like that wouldn't be the case, but it's come up several times for me. There's also a lot of situations where someone is in much better shape getting an FHA loan, which people tend to think badly about FHA loans, which is not really justified, where they're in much better shape and get a much better rate, much better situation financially than with a conventional loan. So usually there's one loan that fits their particular situation, their credit score, the debts on their credit report, the type of property, all these things. There's usually one that fits really, really well. And it's a situation by situation, case by case basis. So best way to find out is give me a call. I'll take a look. I'll find out what I think is the best option for you, and then also give you the other options if you wanted to look at the other options.
Absolutely. And everyone is a case-to-case basis. This is why it's very important to give your lender a call to know how much you can qualify, what is the best loan available for you, and what are the things that you need to prepare for in order to make this happen. So with that being said, a lot of people, when they get their pre-approval, they're kind of confused in like some things that are in there. So would you mind sharing to them what is a loan estimate?
Absolutely. So I think most people know that back in 2007, 2008, there were a lot of mortgage companies out there. They were doing all kinds of crazy things. If you watch the movie The Big Short, you might have heard of like the ninja loan, no income, no job, no problem. So there's all kinds of stuff that happened back then that was really bad. One thing our government has done is to come in and they put together a standardized, what's called a loan estimate. So if you get a loan estimate, not just a what do they call it? Sometimes they put together a proposal for you. It's got to be a loan estimate. It's got to be called a loan estimate. If you get a loan estimate from one lender, it's going to look just like the loan estimate from another. And that loan estimate is the best way to compare one lender to another and make sure that you're getting the best deal for yourself. We all have to follow that same format for the loan estimate. So getting a loan estimate from one lender two lenders, three lenders, and putting them side by side, you can easily see which deal is the best for you. And if you have one of those, I'd be happy to look at it for you and tell you, what you're looking at, explain each line to you, and tell you how I can get you a better deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what's important is that don't just base it on numbers, but also what really, the type of services you are getting for. Because sometimes it looks like, oh, this looks like cheaper, I'm going to go onto this person. But in the end, you end up paying more. This is why it is, the best way to do it is shop for lenders and then call Robert, and then he can give you, his professional advice on which is the best loan for you and what he can do for you in order to get you the best deal in town. With that being said, how would they know what is their interest or annual percentage rate be?
Okay, yeah, so this is a question I get a lot. I gotta say right up front, beware of any lender who just gives you a rate up front without collecting and analyzing your financial information. There are so many things that go into an interest rate. It depends on so many different factors, like the property type, a condo versus a single family home, the loan type, FHA versus conventional, the lender that you use. Different lenders will charge different amounts for this same exact loan. Your credit score, your debt to income ratio, many other factors. There's a ton of factors that go in. If someone gives you a rate right up front without looking at your information, they're either giving you the rate that anyone could qualify for, or they're just making a ton of assumptions. And it's you want to start digging a little bit deeper if you're really helping your clients out the best. The rate that one person can get is going to be different than a rate another person can qualify for.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why, guys, always remember that everything is a case-to-case basis. Not because someone got a 7% interest rates doesn't mean that you're also going to get that. What if you have a better background? Or maybe instead of buying a condo, you are buying a single family home. So it always depends, and it will change from time to time. So always make sure that you have a lender in hand that you can call to and get a professional advice on which is the best case for your current scenario. And when getting a loan, what is your average loan processing time?
Yeah, so if you look at just a standard, clean, traditional loan, we can close that all the time, no problem, 2 weeks. If you have a more difficult loan, let's say a bank statement loan, or something where there's maybe an issue with your credit, or you're going to use a down payment assistance program, something along those lines, it can take as long as 30 to 45 days. But typically most loans, if they're a little bit difficult, we can still close in about 30 days.
Wow, yeah, that is cool, and that is also fast, because a lot of the times I feel like the normal average close time for them is like 30 to 45 days. But Robert, if you are someone who's like looking for, to close a loan faster, Robert is your guy. Definitely check him out. All of his information will be in the description box below. With everything that we have talked about today, let's say we're in the process of purchasing a home, and we already know the loan processing time, and as well as the mortgage that we are getting. So now the question is, what do I need to bring to the closing table? Because not a lot of people are informed of, they just only know the down payment or the initial deposit. What are other things that they need to know to bring during the closing?
Okay, yeah, and that's something that if you're new to buying a home, it's your first time, one thing you definitely need to keep in mind is, let's say they say, okay, you need a 5% down payment. So you calculate what that 5% is. That's not all you're going to need for the loan. That's your down payment. There are also closing costs involved. So understand that typically most loans, closing costs can be, in Florida here, usually 2 to 3% of the purchase price. So what do you need to bring to the closing table? Usually the only thing you'll need to bring to closing is your identification. Typically any closing costs or down payment are wired to the title company either earlier that day or the day before. We also have a great option available to all of our clients where we can actually send a notary out to you at a time and place that you're choosing, like your dining room table, just to make it a lot more convenient for our clients.
Absolutely. That's a really, really good option, especially I know a lot of buyers are interested in closing in their own new property that they are purchasing, right? So if you are someone who's like that, definitely mention it up, because this is something that they offer and, will be most convenient for you. And, I think the last question that our viewers have is one of the things that they are afraid of during closing, right? Is during the process of purchasing a home, what happens if my appraisal comes in low?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. A lot of times I hear people are worried about that, but usually things are appraising where they should these days. When the housing market was super hot, like 6 to 9 months ago, you did have a lot of cases where people were paying too much, and there ended up being a cap, and they made a deal for more than the house was actually appraising for. But those days sadly well, depends on whether you're the buyer or seller.
Yeah.
Those days are pretty much gone. If your appraisal comes in low, a few different things that can happen. Your realtor is typically the best person to go to guide you as to what direction to go. So, like, for your clients, I know you're in perfect stance here to be able to help them out and give them the best guidance. You can use that low appraisal to help renegotiate with the seller. You know, obviously, here's a professional opinion that your house is worth 300, but you're telling it to me for 350. You know, there's something's a little off here.
Yeah.
But you can use that low appraisal amount to renegotiate for a better selling price. Or a second option is, and I had this happen with one of my properties last summer, is you simply pay the difference. It comes in at 320, appraises for 330. You got to pay that extra $10,000, and it's done. The last thing is, I've also seen situations where everyone involved with the transaction, the realtor, the seller, maybe not the buyer, not possibly not the seller, feels that the appraisal's a little bit off. There's something wrong here. So you do have the opportunity as well to take maybe additional information that the appraiser wasn't aware of, whatever that may be, like a renovation or a brand new roof or whatever. They're usually going to catch the roof, and you can go back to the appraiser and have them basically reconsider the appraisal. So that is a third option available.
Absolutely. That is good to know. So when you have an appraisal, it is, I think, the very best thing to do in this situation is hire a good realtor. Because when you are buying your home, you know, one of the job as a realtor is doing a comparative market analysis, you know, and maybe it just depends also as well if you really love the house, right? And if you have the money of the difference, why not go move forward, right? But one of the best things, you know, a positive when you have a really good realtor is that when they do the market analysis, they can give you a professional opinion of how much this really the house is, right? How much the value you can offer to this home. So when the time comes, you know, when the appraisal comes, you are not surprised that, oh my God, this is only how much this house costs. You know what I mean? And sometimes it gets disappointing and there will be emotion, you know, that will be involved. And then what if you don't have the difference to pay for it? It sucks because you already spent all your time, you know, money, effort, you know, and all that stuff, which is like something that we cannot get back again, right? So it's very important to really talk to a realtor that knows what she's doing and know that, you know, they can help you value the property properly so you don't have to experience this kind of situation. And like I mentioned, you know, like what Robert said, the third option is also, which is we don't want to go there because it's just going to keep extending, you know, is get another appraisal. But what's the best thing about our first property that we did with Robert is that we have valued and get an equity in the property. So there's another thing, you know, what if the appraisal is higher? So this is one of the most common questions as well that we get a lot is that when the appraisal is higher, then congratulations, you now have built an equity on your house that quickly. But anyway, thank you so much, Robert, for jumping into this call. I know a lot of our viewers are curious if they, you know, they can qualify for a home. And just to, you know, summarize everything in here, if you are interested in buying a home, feel free to contact me and Robert. We will be helping you and guiding you onto buying your first home. Especially if this is your first time, there's a lot of things that you need to know, and we wanted to guide you in the right direction. So Robert, where they can find you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm one of those guys. I'm basically working all the time. I love to help people, so you can contact me nights, weekends, whatever works best for you. My phone number will be posted here. It's 813-955-2569, and you can also always reach me at my website, fastcloserobert.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. Again, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in our video, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.